Hey guys, this is Alex Daly at CritGames.com, and today I'm going to teach you how to make some of these really awesome counters that I've made. I'll show you another one here that's an abilities counter that's flying. One of our biggest problems that we have as gamers is what the heck do we do with all of these leftover magic cards that we have? Really, they turn us into hoarders. I mean, it's difficult because you don't want to let them go. You've spent good money, you've cracked open the packs, you've sifted through, you've found those delicious, amazing rares and mythic rares. We love those. We know what to do with those. Those are money and power. List them on eBay, trade them with other guys. But what do you do with all of your leftover cards? Well, I started making some counters, some really awesome counters, because they've got beads and they've got all of this other stuff. But I started to think to myself, I hate having all of these beads because it's hard to keep track of, is this a 1-1 counter? Is this a 2-2? Am I marking that this creature has flying? What am I doing? And if the table gets bumped, the counters end up rolling around and it gets mixed up and all of this other stuff. So I started going through my cards and I started to come up with a really creative way on how to make some unique counters. So one of the ways that I do that is I created this guy. Where's he at? Where's he at? Where's he at? Okay, I've got this flipped over. Come on. All right, here we go. So this creative counter right here is a 4-4. This one comes off of a card like Titanic Growth. We're all familiar with Titanic Growth. It's a common card. It's been around forever, and you end up with 1,000,000 of them. You love to have a couple of them in your deck, but you don't like having 1,000,000 of them just sitting in a box in your room. So what I did with this bad boy is I took an X-Acto knife, and I measured out what I thought was proportionately correct for a good-sized counter. And as you can see here, they're identical cards. I just cut out the lettering for the +4/+4, and then I cut out the face of the wolf. Once I did that, I took a single dot, I mean the slightest dot, I basically just touched the nozzle down to the piece of paper. I didn't even squeeze. And then I took my X-Acto knife and I carefully placed the 4-4 on the face of the wolf. And you can cut it out of anything. I mean, basically, one of the other ones that I did here, as you can see, is Instant Infection. You know, these ones are really nice to have in a black deck, and there's not a lot of counters you can buy out there that say negatives, so I made my own. This is just a little -1 counter right here. You can see how I made it off of the card. And then I decided to go on and to start doing other ones like I did one that says flying. It's got that bird right there. I took a card, it just said, you know, haste. So I've got this guy jumping off of a roof or whatever. I made this exalted guy right here. You know, he's just nice. These are things that I can set on the card, and they're really easy and great. So what do I do now that I have cards and I've got my counters, but they're rolling around? Well, I got really creative, and I found some of these awesome hairpins. Those of you who are gamer girls out there, or those of you who have girlfriends, you see these freaking disaster clips everywhere. Well, good news, I'm about to make them your best friend. Because what I did is I took a little bit of super glue and I touched it to the back of one of these little decals that I made. And now, whenever I'm playing a game, if I permanently want to enchant a creature with flying, or even just for part of a turn, look at that guy. He's not sliding off of there. He's not coming off. It's just right there. I can even lift it up just enough where it's not even covering up the name, and it reminds me that he has flying. Oh, somebody disenchants him. He no longer has flying. You slide it right off of there. And because it's not a paper clip, and because it's not a safety pin or anything like that, it's actually not going to damage your card. These wonderful little guys just slide right over them, and even the tips of these have these little plastic coatings on them, so that don't scratch your card while going over them. And if you're like me and you've got some of these, like, you know, my wife's deck that she has here with the Nyan cat, you know, I can just slide it over here. It's super, super easy for her. And now it's done. This creature now has flying until it doesn't, and so it's really great to work with that. I hope that inspires you and gives you some awesome ideas. It took me about an hour and a half to make like 7 of these, so if you don't want to deal with the hassle of cutting these out, gluing them, you don't have time but you do have money, you can head over to CritGames.com, or you can go to Etsy.com under Crit Games, and you can see all of my awesome selection of these. I make these all day long. I'm in college, so you're feeding a hungry college student by buying some of my stuff. You can get them, use them at the game table, and you're going to find a bunch of other handmade stuff that I make, like my sweet, sweet deck boxes. head over to critgames.com or head over to etsy.com under Crit Games. You guys are great. I hope to help you make some awesome counters. Thanks for watching. Like the video, share it, comment, let me know what you want to see next, and subscribe.